London is red. And when I say red, I mean red of the Red Devils. Manchester United. They are vexing. Even I say this Carrick, hey, I don't know what he's telling the players. I don't know what he's doing with the players. I don't know what the players are doing in training, but it seems like it is working. Like, guys, hey, Manchester United beat Arsenal. Oh my, go choke you. Reaction go plenty. Anyways, guys, welcome back to another post-match review of match day 23 in the Premier League. And yeah, the results are in. The results are in. Now, let's just start off with the games that happened on Saturday, with Manchester City obviously returning to winning ways, beating Wolves 2-0. And yeah, I think it was about time, because Man City are going through their own rough patch. I feel like they are struggling a little bit defensively, but you know, I think with McGabe in that squad, now we can see some sort of stability in the squad. And that, yeah, I felt like they also probably at some point in the game they deserved a penalty and all that, but it wasn't given. But the most important thing was they got the goal, and Semenyo scoring another goal. I think it's back-to-back goals for him now for Man City. It's quite impressive, right? Excuse me. It's quite impressive to see that he's literally clicking with the team. I can tell that he's sync with them, and there was no question about that, because when they signed him, I knew it was one person that would fit perfectly with that Manchester City side, and we are seeing that happen now. So it's quite impressive to see that he has scored back-to-back goals for them, and Omar Mamouche, obviously coming back from AFCON with Egypt, scores for them. And you know, it tells a lot about what is actually going on with Erling Haaland. I feel like Erling Haaland right now is struggling. I did say in my preview that it seemed like he was struggling a little bit, and that is surprising for a striker that I think is so, you know, is full of confidence. I don't think there's any time that I've seen Haaland, you know, lose confidence. Even when it seems like maybe he's not scoring back to back, it still gives a lot of defenders problems. You know, it makes them be on their toes. And I must say that in the last two games that they've probably lost, I've not really seen that with Haaland. I don't know, maybe it's because he's also a bit tired. But even regardless of that, I think the fact that he has also scored about 20 goals so far this season is impressive. And I'm talking of just even in the Premier League. It's really, really impressive for a striker. But you know what? Players will have their off days. They will definitely have their off days. They will have times where they can go 2, 3, 4, 5 games and not score. But I want to believe that, I'm sure probably in the next game, if he starts, then definitely he should return back to winning ways, scoring for Manchester City. But it's obvious that Man City could get the win without Haaland on the pitch. It was an unused. He came in later, but we didn't really still see much of him. But regardless, I think the 2-0 win was what Manchester City needed to keep the pressure back on Arsenal. Now, the other game on Saturday obviously saw Tottenham Hotspur play out a 2-2 draw. I did say in my preview that I expect the game to end in a draw. That was one match that I saw a draw written all over it, and that was exactly what happened. Tottenham, for me, as I say, they are up and down, especially in the Premier League. How they perform very well in the Champions League still beats me. It honestly still beats me. Look at the match they played midweek against Borussia Dortmund. Good performance, and a deserved win. And then look at how they are struggling against Burnley. See, when I say Tottenham are on their own problem, it's only them that understand. But the good thing is that they didn't even lose the match. They were able to get a point from it, and yeah, they'll be disappointed, but regardless, I think getting a point from it is probably what they need, even though it still puts them in the second half of the table, but they'll be really disappointed. I expected them to have won that game, but I guess it is it's what it is. And then Liverpool losing to Bournemouth. Now, would I say I'm surprised? No, because I've seen the performance that Bournemouth have given in their last 3 games. They've been so good. I just feel like sometimes they've just been unlucky to not get 3 points, and maybe the opponent they are facing is so good that they make it difficult for them to get 3 points also. But the fact that they are beating Liverpool is no surprise. Absolutely no surprise in that game, because to be honest, Liverpool didn't play very well. Bournemouth were the better side. In fact, at some point, I was just looking at the fact that would Liverpool not lose this game with a huge or a bigger goal margin? But I guess it is what it is. We've seen Liverpool win games with, scoring in the last minute, and unfortunately, yes, they will feel bad in that game that they weren't able to go with 1 point, because after that equalizer, I'm sure they must have assumed that we can still get a point from this game. And of course, with Szoboszlai scoring that goal, I think in the 80th minute, they just assumed that yes, we are going to pick a point. But you know what? Adley said no, because we've played better than you guys and we deserve the 3 points, and that was exactly what happened. Bournemouth, I must say, yes, they do deserve the 3 points. They played really well in that game. They in fact, Liverpool at some point were I think it was just the fact that Bournemouth lost focus. That was how Liverpool were able to get their goals. Because if I'm to look at Liverpool's performance, it wasn't impressive at all. And as I said, Bournemouth deserved it, even though they did have a lot of possession. Because sometimes when it comes to football, you don't need all the possession in the world. It might probably just be you defending very well and then breaking the opponent on counter attacks or transitional plays, and that's all that is needed. And that was exactly what they did against Liverpool. So it was a very good result for Bournemouth in that game, but Liverpool will be really disappointed, because they know that that win or a draw would have somehow probably still kept them in number 4, but the loss, they knew that if Manchester United or Chelsea picked up 3 points, then obviously they're going to drop to probably number 6 or number 7, I think. And yeah, that is exactly what happened. And then to the games that were played on Sunday, Crystal Palace obviously losing at home 3-1 to Chelsea. It's no surprise. I think Chelsea right now, they're on a string of very good performances. In the last 5 games, they've had 4 wins. Including the game against Crystal Palace, and it's the fact that you see their striker and their wingers getting the goal. Yeah, I'm sure they would have actually even been disappointed that they conceded 1 goal, because they were playing against 10 men Crystal Palace. I think it was due to the penalty that was given to Chelsea. Obviously, Crystal Palace would have felt really hard on with that one. Adam Watson getting 2 yellow cards, obviously reducing Crystal Palace to 10 men. Now, when I look at this Crystal Palace side, I feel like they're really struggling right now. Like, it just seems like there's a lot that is happening with them, and they'll feel really disappointed, to be honest. They will really feel disappointed, because Chelsea played all right. I think they looked like the better side. Chelsea did look like the better side, but Crystal Palace in one or 2 times also had the chances, but they didn't take them. They weren't clinical enough, and that obviously affected them. But I think the goals that Chelsea got quickly, the first goal obviously was in the first half. The second one was very early in the second half, into the second half, and then the third goal was a penalty. They felt it would have really pained them that they lost that game like that. But regardless, I think Chelsea did deserve that win, and that win obviously puts them into number 4 until Manchester United played their games against Arsenal. Now, just before Arsenal's game, Aston Villa also played their game against Newcastle, and I must say I was quite disappointed against Newcastle, because I expected them to have picked up a point at least. They were playing at home. Come on, they were actually playing at home, and the fact that they even lost that game 2-0 to Aston Villa with Ole Watkins scoring and Buendia, it just goes to show the form that Aston Villa are on right now. They seem like the team that is doing everything to get the result, and yeah, it can't come at a better time, because when it comes to the second half of the season, all you need to do is to be picking up points. It's not even about the good performances anymore. It's just picking up points, whether 1 point or 3 points. You can't afford to lose 3 points. Yeah, that is what matters right now. So definitely is the fact that they were able to get the win, and I'm sure they would have looked at the fact that Man City also won their game. They also want to do the same and not stay too far away from Arsenal, who are top of the table. So definitely I must say that that win for Aston Villa was really, really impressive. And then to the main game of the weekend, Arsenal against Manchester United. Now, Arsenal are playing at home, and to be honest, I feel like looking at the performances that Manchester United have given, I think in their last 3 games, it's been quite impressive. It's just that the thing with Manchester United is you really don't know what game they are going to turn up. But this time around, they did turn up. They played really well. I think Arsenal had the possession, but they didn't take their chances. They weren't clinical enough. They had just so much possession in the 18-yard box. But they didn't really threaten the goalkeeper. I think maybe except for 1 or 2 chances that the goalkeeper Laments made the same. But aside from that, I think that Man U seemed like the better side, when it came to counter-attacking, because that was literally what they did against Arsenal. Counter-attacking and, take your shot and make sure that it's on target. The goal, Mbeumo's goal was perfect. It was a defender's error and then leading back to the goal. Dogu's goal was, that was a proper strike. That was a really, really good strike from the 18-yard box. And then the final goal was from Cunha, which I would say I was a bit disappointed with Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal. I felt it could have done better, because really you knew that it was close to the end of the game and that concentration was needed. And the fact that you lost that concentration and you gave the chance back to Manchester United, there was absolutely no way that Cunha would have missed that chance. Absolutely not. So definitely seeing the fact that Manchester United won that game puts them back into the top 4. And to be honest, that is exactly where I expected Manchester United to be, because if you're not playing the Champions League, Europa League or Europa Conference League, you're not playing in the FA Cup, you're not playing in the EFL, you're only playing in the Premier League, then you should literally at this point be fighting for the title. You should be fighting for the title, because the other teams that are around you, Aston Villa, Man City, Arsenal, and even Chelsea that are behind you, they are all playing in 3-4 different competitions. They are all playing in different competitions. Arsenal is still playing in the Champions League. They are literally up top of the Champions League. They are in the EFL semi-final. They are in the FA Cup, and they are still top of the Premier League. The same thing with Aston Villa. Aston Villa is also still in the Champions League. They are in the I think they are no longer in the EFL, but they are in the FA Cup, and they are also in the Premier League top 3. Chelsea also is in the Champions League. They are in the top 8 of the Champions League. They are in the EFL's semi-final cup, the FA Cup, and the Premier League top 5. So if Man City is the same thing, Man City is also in the Champions League. They are also in the EFL Cup semi-final and in the FA Cup. So what excuse exactly does Manchester United have to not be fighting for the title? If the only competition that you're playing for is the Premier League, they should be competing for that Premier League. At this point, I wouldn't say it's late or it's over, because in the case of Arsenal probably losing 1 more game or drawing 2 more games, and it is done. It is absolutely done. So Manchester United really have to be winning on their games at this point and making sure they are picking up results, because I expect them, as I said, to be where probably in the top 2 if you're not going to be in the other competitions anymore. So I must say Manchester United played really well in that game, and Arsenal have to do better. They honestly have to do better. That game they drew at the weekend against Nottingham Forest was a huge disappointment, and I did expect them to pick up 3 points against Manchester United just to extend that gap or retain the gap. But now that they've lost the game, it's just 4 points between them and Manchester City and Aston Villa. So it's going to be it's literally just 4 points, which means if they draw any of their next 2 games or lose any one, you have opened the title race again. You have literally opened the title race again. That is why it was important for them to have won that game against Nottingham Forest. But I guess it is what it is. When you don't have the winning mentality, it tells a lot on a team. And I hope that will not be the case, because Arsenal cannot even afford not to win the Premier League. But they cannot. They cannot afford to lose the Premier League title. So they have to step up. The players have to take responsibility for this particular game and do better in the next game. Anyways, guys, that's my thought on match day 23 post-match review of the games, and share your thoughts in the comment section. I would definitely be reading, and let me know if you think that Arsenal are still on course to win the title, because as it's looking like he's on one leg. It's looking like he's on one leg. Anyways, also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We are growing. We keep growing, and I'm loving it. So please keep subscribing to the channel. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media platforms at _official FSH, and please put on your post notification button to get our latest video when they drop. Anyways, guys, there are going to be some interesting fixtures midweek. The Champions League final game, his league phase game, is going to be happening this midweek. So just wait for the preview of that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the games this weekend. Arsenal they'll be really hating themselves for this one. But anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.